So hello, and in today's creature spotlight, I've got the Maewing. I've talked about this a lot in my top 10 Ark videos, but in today's video, I just wanted to go into detail further of why I love this Ark creature and why I think it really is a great one, which I think all of you should be getting. So, with my goofy character on Crystal Isles, let's get straight into it. Now, the first thing I have to mention is if you go and look at the Maewing saddle, if you look at the engram level for it, it is unlocked at level 19. And although, yes, it does need 30 metal ingots and a reasonable amount of hide, the fiber really isn't an issue, it is incredibly just cheap for a saddle, and especially considering the level and the versatility you get with one of these things. And they can be very simply tamed actually with a few signs and some trank arrows. And if you look under the engrams as well for signs, and you can get, if I can actually spell, wooden signs and the wooden panels, they're like level 5, and I know they're under sort of perhaps a different prespect. I don't know if that is actually the sign that I'm looking for. It might be a billboard. Perhaps it is the billboard. I didn't mean a sign, I meant a billboard. Essentially, if you're taming one of these things, you can put these up. So you can do like a triangle like this. Yes, you do have to sort of trap one in it, but you know, when they're walking, and then place billboards around it like this, and you can see you got a little billboard trap there. And then you do obviously want to place one so that it can't get out the top as well. Or obviously you can use the net gun, although that does take perhaps a little bit more effort. But yes, you can billboard it. If you see, if we take the Maewing here, it can't walk through the billboard. And if I did put it in the middle of these billboards, which I'm not even going to bother attempting to do, then it would, you know, be stuck in there pretty much, and you can just trank it out. And we all know probably that trank arrows are unlocked at level 21 here. So it can be very simply done, and then you probably want a bow as well, and the bow's unlocked at level 10. So it's all really pretty easy to do. The Maewing's got a level up as well. You can see the stats. Yes, the levels are crazy, okay? I play on difficulty 50, but still, you know, the stats are pretty nice on the Maewing. Perhaps the weight could be a little bit higher, but this isn't supposed to be a hauling thing. And then obviously you can get it to pick up babies as well. There aren't any babies nearby, so it won't be doing any of that today. But the main influence that this has on Ark players, and it has on me, is its gliding ability. And you can see it temporarily once I did the little jump thing, but as you can see, this thing really can go stupid fast if I glide downwards as well. But it's pretty good at going up as well, and it's just generally a great glider for getting around the map. Like, I feel it's so much more effective than a creature like the rock drake perhaps is. It's just so great in flight. If you attack with the Maewing, you can gather berries as well from bushes, and it's a pretty nice berry gatherer, and it's actually pretty great at doing berry gathering. You can see we've got even more levels now. Let's just pump that stamina. The stamina is great on these things though. You should really have no issues with the stamina on a creature like the Maewing. Absolutely insane for their stamina, and they can scale, you know, heights on top of it because of that jumping ability. You can see we got up here, and I should be able to get up over onto this rock as well with the combination of that glide ability if I actually initiated it there, which I didn't. And then you can see we're on this rock as well, and although they can't climb up walls and do things like that, you don't need to do that on something like the Maewing. They're absolutely insane, and just getting around as a glider anyway, you can already gain enough height as it is. Like, you can just see the mobility and versatility that you can get out of a creature like this, and you can see we can gradually work our way up, and then from that, no, not quite, perhaps we would be able to get up there, but I'm not going to bother to try too much longer because it's just going to be a little bit boring trying to see me get up there. So I'm just going to continue on our way, and we'll go back onto metal islands. You could belly flop things like the rocks as well and go into them. Sadly, you don't gather anything with it, but you know, it's all in the experience, isn't it, really? The fact that you can glide at such insane speeds and scale all of this stuff. You can do little quick hops as well and get around and really have no troubles. It just is a fantastic creature for all of this stuff. And obviously it's had the right reciprocation from the audience too. And on combination of that, just look at the speed that we just got there on the waterfalls. And you can see, look, we're dropping down here and just insane speed. Look, I'll come down here and I'll travel around. Now we're in the water. They're great swimmers on top of that as well. You see we lost a bit of acceleration there now that we're swimming, but really great swimmers. And you know, they can surface quickly, and then we can get all the way back up as well. Although, you know, we are just sort of down here now. Perhaps it will take a little bit to get all the way back up, but you can see we're staying relatively flat and still getting necessary speed to go across all of this stuff. And we can always just go on the surface of the water if it would actually let me do that. There we go. And then we can glide across the surface of the water as well. You do slow down reasonably quickly, but it's still great for getting around. And you can see, look, we're just doing amazingly on the water. And then you can see we're pretty good swimmers as well. We can swim all the way down, as you've seen before, and you can do whatever gathering you want to do in the oceans. Now, in Crystal Isles, the oceans are pretty unfruitful and, you know, largely unfinished, really. But still, there's a lot to do in the ocean in terms of gathering silica pearls and things, but perhaps it's not their main strong suit. I still think it is a useful thing, which the Maewing does. The Maewing is great at all things underwater travel, but it is also great at doing any sort of breeding. Perhaps it doesn't improve the breeding rate, but it has those realistic milk animations, which, out of keeping this perhaps keeping this a more family friendly video, I'm not going to show you in this video because the animation is disturbing for me, so I don't need to show it in this video. But essentially it feeds all the baby dinos that you'll come to encounter along the way. But also the Maewing's pretty great with its damage as well. But you can see, look, we're just gliding pretty happily along right now, and we're not losing too much altitude. You can see we're losing a bit and we're going to hit the water now, but there really isn't too much issue when it comes to that. And you can always see when you got back on the water and then jump up again and just keep going, and you really don't encounter any other issues. And it's just so cute. Like, look at that face. Just an amazing creature as we fly into the trees here and into the area where I actually started Ark on PC, believe it or not, to some extent, where I started Ark on a new PC, I should say, rather than on PC. This area in Crystal Isles, and I remember running it at like 25 FPS, running it a little bit smoother these days. But that's where I'm going to conclude this creature spotlight. The Maewing is a fantastic dino, and it really is a great one for you to use out there, and that is why I've given it the creature spotlight for today. Let me get rid of the HUD so you can see this thing. Just, it's an absolutely fantastic creature, can be unlocked so early on. That's where the milk animations come from. I don't need to show that today. It's just like the most friendly, best flying platypus you could ever come across, and that's why I have to include it in this creature spotlight. And give it up for our patrons, Ekaterina Puchkova and Karina Thorne, Dominic Maciejewski, sorry about that name, and everyone else that's on this list. All the people I've mentioned are paid members, and if you feel like that's something you want a shout out at the end of the video, go join the Patreon or become a paid YouTube member.